In this video, we will go over section 8.9, the quadratic formula and the discriminant, and we'll be going over the worksheet practice B. Now, number one, it says solve using the quadratic formula. The first thing we have to do when we look at a quadratic equation is to see whether it is written in the proper form. It must be equal to 0, and number one is not. It's equal to 12, so we're going to have to move the 12 over. So we have x squared plus x minus 12 is equal to 0. The next step is to identify the coefficients a, b, and c. Here, a is equal to 1, b is equal to 1, and c is equal to minus 12. We can now use the quadratic formula. I'm just going to write it out here just so we don't have to write it out each time. The quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the discriminant, which is the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So x equals negative b, which is negative 1, plus or minus b squared, which is 1 squared, which is 1, minus 4ac. 4 times 1 times minus 12, all over 2a, 2 times 1. So it would be minus 1 plus or minus. If you look at inside the discriminant, a minus 4 times 1 times minus 12 is a positive 48. So 1 plus 48 is 49, all over 2. The square root of 49 is 7. So we have minus 1 plus or minus 7 over 2. This tells us we're going to have two solutions, minus 1 plus 7 over 2, and minus 1 minus 7 over 2. So we will get x equals minus 1 plus 7, which is 6, divided by 2 is 3. Or we will have x equals minus 1 minus 7, which is minus 8, divided by 2, which is minus 4. So we have two x-intercepts, two real solutions. Now let's look at number 2. It's written in the proper form, and we can see a is equal to 4, b is negative 17, and c is negative 15. So we use the quadratic formula, x equals negative b. Now this is a negative 17, so it's positive 17, over b squared. Negative 17 squared is a positive 289, minus 4 times ac, all over 2a. So we get 17 plus or minus the square root of 289 plus 60 times 4, which is 240, all over 8. Now the square roots. We must first combine these two numbers before we can take the square root. 289 plus 240. Let's see, what does that come out to? 9 plus 0 is 9. 8 plus 4 is 2. Carry the 1. 529 all over 8. I believe this will be 23. Double check. I'll just multiply 23. See if that's the square root of 529. 9, 6, 0, 6, 4, 9, 2. It does come out to 529. So this is going to be 23. So we have two solutions. We have 17 plus 23 divided by 8, and we have 17 minus 23 divided by 8. So x equals, well, 17 plus 23 is 40. 40 divided by 8 is 5. Or 17 minus 23 is a negative 6. Negative 6 over 8 reduces. And this will reduce to negative 3 over 4. So we have our two x-intercepts. Let's look at number 3. Again, it's not written in the proper form. we can now use the quadratic formula. X equals negative b, so it's a negative 5, which is a positive 5. B squared, well, a negative 5 squared is 25, minus 4 times a times c, all over 2a. So we get 5 plus or minus the square root. Now 25 plus, let's see, 8 times is 24. 25 plus 24 inside the square root. That will give us 49, all over 4. Now the square root of 49 we know is 7. So we have 5 plus or minus 7 over 4. Now 5 plus 7 is 12. 12 over 4 is 3. 5 minus 7 is minus 2 over 4, which reduces to minus 1/2. Switch that. Okay. Number 4. We have our a value, our b value, and our c value. X equals negative b, so it's negative 14 plus or minus b squared. 14 squared, let's see, what is that? 196, I believe, minus 4ac. 4 times 3 times minus 5, all over 2a. 2 times 3. Now we get 196 inside the square root, and we get 60, plus 60. So we get 256 in the square root, which is a square number over 6. The square root of 256 is 16. Over 6. So we get two solutions. Minus 14 plus 16 is going to be a 2. It'll be 2 over 6, which reduces to 1/3. Or we have minus 14 minus 16, which is minus 30. Minus 30 over 6 is minus 5. Right here, minus 30 over 6, and we get a minus 5. So here's our two solutions. X equals 1/3 or x equals negative 5. Now for the next part, we don't have to solve, we have to determine the number of solutions by using the discriminant. It says here we will use the discriminant. We'll use the discriminant, which is just simply the b squared minus 4ac. So let's see. In this problem, we actually skipped a power here. There's a 0x plus 25 equals 0. Because there's no b value here. Now, we would do a quick review on how we use it to discriminant to determine the types of solutions and the number of solutions. When we look at inside the square root value, the b squared minus 4ac, whenever it's a value greater than 0, when the answer there is greater than 0, we get two real solutions. When b squared minus 4ac equals 0, there's only one real solution. And of course now, I apologize, I'm writing it here on the side. When b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, which means it's negative, well, we can't take the square root of a negative number. We get an imaginary solution. For now, we'll just call that a no solution or 0 solutions. So let's look at this problem, number 5, b squared. So we have 0 squared minus 4 times a times c. A is 1, c is 25. So we get 0 minus 100. So we get negative 100, which is less than 0. So in this case, for number 5, we will get 0 solutions. 0 solutions. It means this quadratic would never cross the x-axis. So it's really bad. Let's see if we can fix that. It'll never cross the x-axis. Number 6 is written in the proper form. We'll just go ahead and check the discriminant. So it's minus 11 squared minus 4ac. Minus 11 squared is 121 minus 4 times 1 times 28. That's 56. I believe that's 112. I hope the math isn't wrong there. And we'll get 9, which is greater than 0, which means we will get 2 real solutions because it's greater than 0. It will cross the x-axis at 2 points. We don't know what those points are because we didn't use the entire quadratic formula or factor the problem. Number 7. X squared plus 8x plus 16. So it's 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times 16. 64 minus 64 equals 0. When you get 0, you get 1 real solution. What that means is the graph will actually be touching the x-axis. We could actually factor this problem to x plus 4 and x plus 4. It's a perfect square. So I know the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, is x equals negative 4. So the graph looks something like this. It touches right at negative 4. And that's 1 real solution. You don't have to draw the graph. I just want you to be able to visualize what we're looking at. Number 8. 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times 15. 64 minus 60 is 4, which is greater than 0, which means we have 2 real solutions. It's greater than 0. Number 9. It's x squared plus 0x minus 49 equals 0. There was no x term here, so I wrote it as a 0x. B squared. 0 squared minus 4 times 1 times minus 49. We get 0 plus 196. 196 is greater than 0. We get 2 real solutions. Number 10. 1 squared minus 4 times 6 times minus 1. 1 plus 4 times 6 times negative 1. It's a negative 4 times 6 times negative 1. We get a positive 24. So it equals 25. Again, that's greater than 0. So we get 2 real solutions. Number 11. 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times minus 20. So we get 64 plus 80. We already know this is going to be greater than 0. So we will get 2 real solutions. Here's our only word problem, number 12. In the past, professional baseball was played at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. The Astrodome has a maximum height of 63.4 meters. The height of a baseball t seconds after it is hit straight up in the air, with a velocity of 45 feet per second, which is right here, is given by this height function. Well, a baseball hit straight up with this velocity hit the roof. Use a discriminant to explain your answer. Well, how do we use a discriminant? Well, the discriminant will tell us if we can get an answer. If we get a negative discriminant, then we know this solution, well, there's no solution to this problem, which means it would not hit the roof. But we must use the height that was given. We can't just use the height equation right now because this height here is at ground level. The height is supposed to be 63.4 meters. So we'll plug in 63.4 where the h is. Let me first write the original. The height is 63.4. Now we have to set it equal to 0, and we'll subtract the 63.4 to the right side. So we have negative 9.8 t squared plus 45t minus, and what is it? We're going to do 1 minus this. And what is 1 minus? We'll get negative 62.4. Now we will use the discriminant to see if a solution is even possible using b squared minus 4ac. We're not going to find the time it takes to hit the roof. We're just going to see is an answer even achievable. So we have 45 squared minus 4 times minus 9.8 times c, which is negative 62.4. I see 3 negative signs over here, which means the answer here is going to be negative. We need to first do 45 squared. So let me pull up our little calculator here. We will do 45 times 45. We'll get 2,025 minus, let's pull the calculator back up again. It'll be 4 times 9.8 times 62.4. Okay, we know we're going to get a negative answer here. And it was negative 2,440 something. I know there's a little bit of change there. I lost it. Let me see if I can, I lost it once I typed on the screen. I don't remember exactly what it was. But regardless, it's going to be bigger than 2,025. So it's going to be less than 0, which means there's no solution or 0 solutions. So the question is, will a baseball hit straight up with this velocity? The answer is no. It will not hit the roof. So there's a little bit of application of using the discriminant in a real world sort of kind of situation. Well, that concludes this lesson.